Hello everyone, it's Amy and welcome back for the final Build Your Stash and Craft video. Today we're going to just take a look back at the things that we purchased, the things that we made, the supplies that we got, and I'm going to let you know at the end where we go from here. I'm not going away, but we've been doing this for 4 years now, and so I think it's time to move on to the next chapter. We're going to find something else to do. It's still going to be as fun, it's going to be as cheap, but I need to put all of these things away now. I have never used things that we did not specifically buy for the series in all of our crafts, so everything has been kept separate, and as we accumulated and accumulated, I have totally run out of room, and I need to put these things in with the like kind things in my art studio so that I can clear off this desk and move on a little bit. So I am going to be back, and we're gonna look at some of the nicer things that we made. Everything was great, but there were things that were my favorites. I guess that's how we'll put it. We'll look at some of the storage we made. We'll look at some of the bigger products that we were able to buy or tools that we were able to buy. And so that's what I will be back in just a minute to do, and we'll look at those things. So I'll be back in just a second. Okay, I am back just to kind of look at a few of the favorite things that we made throughout this last 4 years. And it was fun going through everything, and so many of these things I had forgotten about, but this is one of my absolute favorites. And this looks like a film strip, and it's made out of packing tape, and so we have a video on that. This is something that opens up, and it has a I think we have Velcro on there. It opens up and it holds a post-it note inside, and then we have our word blocks, which we made at Christmas time but could be used for any words that you would want to put around. Our little clothespin rocking chair, and our own homemade stamps. We used to stamp the front of this. That is a magazine. Use a magazine to make a file folder. We have our Rolodex that we made, and I love the pulled flowers. They're one of my favorites. And the feathers, we made lots of those. Those are fairly recent. Our rain stick, and then our what do you call the advent calendar, which I will save for next year. And then this is another one of the feathers that we made. We made storage jars, and then over here, this one, we used a different method to do the top on it. This is one that you just saw recently, and that is the glue coloring. We did layered cards. We did our own book corners. We made this file, and this little, these flip over, so you can do them like monthly or daily. A little tea bag holder, and a covered candle. I forgot all about this one. I loved how this turned out, like a little gift box. Ah, I'm not going to be able to get it open. It's almost there. Okay, hold on a minute, because I really want to open this. I'm just going to set you here while I get it open. Oops, then I dropped the card out of it. Okay, so this is just like a little gift box, but when they open it up, it has like a little mobile in there, which could be hung up if they wanted to, and then you put your gift in the box in the bottom. It had a card in it that I dropped on the floor, so I'll get that later. And then this is our glue holder. You take your bottle of glue and you stick it upside down right in the hole there, and it holds your glue upside down for you. We just had a decorated can, our dress form, our little art doll, our hand-dyed ribbon, Little yo-yo flowers and puffy flowers. Love the nylon flowers. A tag with napkins. And then our little window tags and some more of our hand-dyed fabric. We did rolled roses and our own colored beads and little like plant sticks. Our little coins, our affirmation coins. This is a bookmark. It's got a magnet in it. So when you put it on the page of the book, it magnetizes itself right on the page. We did lots of homemade buttons and homemade beads. I forgot all about the little teeny tiny clothespins that you could use to make different things. We did our dictionary page, you know, just little embellishments. Our books. I couldn't find, I've lost my little post-it notebooks that we made because I made a little bookcase of them. And then these ones are made out of matchboxes. And we made those with our own gold paint on the end. Our little luminario. We did the fingernail polish flowers, the burlap flowers that we did in pink and white. Our stack of love letters that actually is a box. And then our decorative box here. These are some of my absolute favorites that we did. And so I just thought that I'd kind of lay them out as I was going through looking over everything and, you know, just kind of reminiscing about the last 3 years and all the things that we've done. So I will be back and we'll just kind of go over in the 4 years time what tools we got, what storage we were able to make. And so if you see anything that you say, hey, I'd like to do that, you can go back through the series and, you know, go ahead and find the different things that you want to do. Oh, I just saw this little guy. Those are bobby pins, and that's a little funky guy there. I thought he turned out so cute when I did him. But so I'm glad that you all have come and enjoyed this series. It has been a great joy for me, and we are definitely going to go on and do some more inexpensive crafts and crafts that anyone can do. And so we'll be back with a series for that very shortly. Hopefully by the time that you see this video, hopefully the new series will start next week. Fingers crossed. So I'll be back in a second and we'll look at the storage and then we'll look at the tools, and see you in a sec. Okay, so here are the store-bought tools that we got with this series. We got a scoreboard and we got some stencils, some punches. We did get some store-bought inks, an iron, a sewing machine. We even got a rotary tool, a heat gun, a glue gun. We did get some clear stamps, a couple of pages worth of those, and a cutter. And then we got hand tools. We did get a set of the, you know, like jewelry making tools, and a hole punch, a hammer, you know, just things like that. We have scissors and little X-Acto knives, that type of thing. But when I pulled these out, I was actually quite surprised at how many store-bought tools we had over the last 4 years. I expected it to be more. But the reason that we did not wind up with so much of the store-bought products is because we did so many of our own. And, you know, we made our own stencils. We made a lot of our own stamps, tons of them. And, you know, so there were a few things. These are kind of the things that we couldn't make ourselves. I tried to make a scoreboard because somebody asked me to. That just really was not a possible thing. As far as punches go, you know, you can make your own templates and you don't necessarily need the punches. We made our own inks, and you know, the iron we couldn't replace. A sewing machine we could sew by hand, but the sewing machine comes in handy. The rotary tool worked as a drill and as a sander and all sorts of things like that, so that was a good product to buy. The heat gun, There are a few things you need that for. We made our own embossing powder, so we needed the heat gun to melt that embossing powder. But I was really surprised. Some of the things, you know, like tools of our own. We got this at the Dollar Tree, and it's a pack of very small screwdrivers, and this was our hole punch. This was our cutting mat. This was our pads to roll flowers on. We made our own flower rollers. And so there are just so many things that you can get and do yourself that really, over a whole 4-year time period, and all of the things that we made, there were not that many store-bought tools that we actually needed to buy without being able to make them ourselves. So in just a minute, we'll look at some of the things that we made ourselves. So I'll be back in just a second. Okay, so the storage that we made for our Build Your Stash series, we made paintbrush holders and pen and pencil holders. We made this washi tape carousel, and we made these tiered storage units. There's 3 of them there. And we made these this little basket holder. We made the tool caddy, which holds our tools all nice and separate. We made drawer units, and we made book storage like this. The very first storage thing that we made was what I called the faux roll top desk, which comes down like this. Whoops, it's catching on the bookcase. Which come down like that. And we originally made just this middle section. Then we added the drawers on that side. We did have the paper thing, I think, to start with. And then I had to add a bottom layer for the jelly plate that we made. And that slid right under there very nicely. And all of the little compartments on the inside with the bulletin board. Just recently we made the paper plate type storage. We made lots of little boxes. And then at one point when I ran out of storage, I made those 2 sets of drawers and all of this here. And they're all just made out of, starting with, that was a vacuum cleaner box. And they're all just made out of boxes or pieces of cardboard from cereal boxes, paper plates, cereal boxes, heavy cardstock. You know, this is just cereal boxes and an ice cube tray, all cereal boxes. Foam core board, and foam core board. So, you know, you don't have to, and all of the storage was made to specifically store what we needed. So, you know, sometimes you go out and you buy store-bought storage and it just doesn't quite fit where you want it. That box there, I had a specific spot that it fit. So the bottom part was a little bit bigger, and this side fit right up against the wall. This side, because there was a shelf at the top of the wall, on this side, it was lined up over here because the shelf came out that far, and I couldn't get that tall unless I made it a little smaller. Those 2 drawer sets stood up right next to here. So, you know, and that's how much room I had on top of the desk. So it's great to make your own storage, and I have a lot of storage videos in the series. If you want storage, go back and check those out because they can help you out very well. So the last thing we're going to do is we're going to do supplies and products, and I'll be back in just a second. We'll look at a few of those. And for the final bits, and this is just some of the things that we've made. I am just so amazed at how many things that we were able to do. And some tools, again, I showed you the other day, our own pokey tools that we got, all of those for $1. Clamps. You need to clamp things. You don't need to buy any kind of special clamps. This is a flower dryer, you know, to dry out your flowers and leaves and that type of thing. This is a bow maker. This is a bead maker, makes a small hole bead and a larger hole bead. Another bow maker, and this is the stamp positioner that we made, and the wreath stamp positioner. So, and with this one, we made this. I'm going to open it. Hold on a second. Okay. And the way that this one works is you put your paper in like this, you put your stamp on the top, and you stamp it down like this. And then you turn it. like this and stamp it, and you turn it like this and stamp it, and you just keep turning until you get all the way back to the beginning, and you wind up with this wreath. And then you can add another stamp and another stamp. And then when you want to stamp something that you want to make sure that it stamps and it doesn't move, something that's very intricate like this, you go ahead and you put your stamp on here, you hold your paper down with the magnets, and then you stamp. And then if you lift it up and say, oh man, I missed this whole spot right here, you put a little bit of ink on it, or you don't even necessarily have to, because if you miss that spot, that ink is still on your stamp. You just press it down and you press on the spot that you missed. And so that's, you know, a homemade stamp positioner. Now granted, it's not huge, but it works great. And so, you know, we made lots of tools. We made roller stamps like this. And we made paint pads to put paint on so that we could roll these on our paint. And, you know, so we made those. We made our own stamps, lots and lots of stamps. We made rubber stamps. We made peg stamps out of both rubber and, what's this one? That one's a dotted line, like stitching line. We made rubber stamps, and then we also made foam stamps. And there's some more rubber stamps. So we made those. We made larger rubber stamps. And we learned how to carve them. We made these little corner stamps. Sorry about the, but these make beautiful squares or corners. And you take one of these squares and you place it on your paper, and you do it here, and then you do it here and here and here, and it makes a beautiful pattern. Another roller stamp here. These are smaller ones that I just am storing on a smaller tube, and you can put those on the rollers and roll them. We made our own washi tape. We made the brown washi tape. We made regular washi tape. We made see-through washi tape. We made our own little just regular stamps, and with handles on the back so that you just put the ink on there or the paint and you stamp it down. We made tons of those. These ones we made at Christmas time when we made the advent calendar to make Christmas bulbs. And here are more just fun foam larger stamps. We made a little braiding wheel that makes, whoops, that makes this type of a braid. We made a stamp cleaner. There's two here, one to clean the stamps and then one to wipe it off. We made our own jelly plate. Now the jelly plate I left in the pan, and the pan rusted. So my jelly plate got ruined, but the smaller ones that we made, they're still fine. I've got circles and a star, and they are still just fine, nice and jelly-y, and you know, and they work great because I took them out of the pan. And so if you do make your own jelly plate, what I did with my original, which I still have and made probably 5 years ago, I made it and then I tipped it out onto a piece of glass, a heavy 1/4 inch sanded edge glass. And so then I would set my pan on top of it, but my pan didn't actually touch it. And so it is still in good shape, but the one that I made for the series here, I left in the pan, and the pan rusted and leached the rust into the jelly plate, and so I threw it away. We made our own ink pads. Now the thing with the ink pads is they did dry up, and you know, so partly probably because of the way that I have them stored, because I made these little things to hold them so it wouldn't take up. They were made out of this, and I cut them shorter and put plastic on top. But all you have to do is put some of the hand sanitizer on there, just work it in, and they come right back. We also made, I wasn't sure how this would work, so if you could see, I dyed my finger. This is kind of like the distress not the distress inks, but the distress oxides. These kind of look like that. And so I wasn't sure. These also dried up. I wasn't sure if they would reconstitute because they do have some paint in them. I just put a little water on there, rubbed it around, and it works just fine. So our glue pad did not dry up. Glue pads work great when you've got something with little tiny fine bits on it that you want to put glue on. You put glue on the pad with just a touch of water if you need it, if your glue's too thick, and then you just work it into the sponge, and then you just take that intricate thing, press it onto the sponge, and then you've got glue all over the back of your little fancy doily or whatever it is that you want to glue down. We made liquid colors, and is that one dried up? That one is dried up, but most of these are still liquidy. And these are liquid wax colors made with the liquid pledge. Love those. And my absolute favorite that we made, these are also wax colors, and these are a heavier wax. You use the dauber to rub them on. These are still in great condition, and I love to use these. I use them all the time. We made mica spray colors. We made alcohol ink. We made watercolors, and these were some juice things that my husband gets. And, so I just put them in here. So, and let them drip out. So there are so many things that you can do. If you want to craft and you think that you need to buy all of those things, these are some of my homemade stamps that we made during this series. And there's the stamp, and that's what it looks like when you stamp it out. But, you can make any kind of stamp. These stamps make great little labels. A lot of people are using labels, background stamps, just anything that you could think of. Just, think about it and you can make it. Oh, this is these little ones here. This is what they look like when you stamp them out. There it is plain. There it is in a line. Here they are, put together. There it is in a line. So here is a square where you take it and turn it each time. Another line. They turned out great. So, and then we even did these large stencils, and they make great background stencils. They may look a little funky, but they make the most beautiful designs in the background of your project. I don't know that I have any of them in here, but those worked out great too. So I'm just showing you these things in case you haven't seen the whole series, and there might be something here that you would like to, you'd like to go back and check it out. So here, these are just little squigglies for backgrounds, and this is too. I was trying to make something that looked like the background cursive writing. Didn't quite get there, but you can make your own labels, and if you just cut a template, then you can just use that over and over. And this is a line stamp, so if you're doing journaling cards or something, you can do it with line stamps. I have lots of little labels here, a great big line stamp, another one. This is a little tiny envelope. You just figure out what it is that you like, and then you go ahead and make yourself a pattern out of cardboard that you can use over and over. Here's more labels made out of fun foam, made out of string, made out of lace. These are, I needed some musical notes, and so these are stamps that I made with the musical notes. Another label there. We made postcard stamps so that we could stamp out a postcard. They turn out great. We've got these little this makes little, like the little holes. We've got our own cancellation postage stamps. You don't have to go buy everything in order to have it. Puzzle pieces and just a background stamp. Corners. Love corners, and when you take a corner and you put them together, this is what they look like. You just take the corner and put it here, and then you put it, you just go ahead and turn it each time and make a square, and they make beautiful squares. Corrugated cardboard line stamp. Makes a whole different line stamp than the string does. And I use this one all the time because it's the size of my journaling pages. And then here, this is corrugated cardboard that I just cut along the side and made shapes out of it to make a stamp. So, and this is my stamp pad. It is just a drying rack pad from the Dollar Tree, and I just put my paint on there, and then I use it to stamp. And then what I do when I'm all done, and I rinse it off, if the water's really pretty, don't rinse it in your sink. Always rinse it in like a bucket or a tub or something, and put it in kitty litter to throw it away, or, if you can throw it out, like in your woods or whatever. But if your water is pretty color, then I use it to dye paper. Once I'm done, put this in a tub, squeeze it all out, and then I take my regular copy paper and just stick it in there and make dyed paper. It makes beautiful. I'll show you over here. These are all dyed papers, and some of these papers are dyed just that way, just by using the paint that was on the sponge that I had to wash anyways. Some of them are also made with Kool-Aid because we did that. But so just, just a little, let you know that if it's there and you want it and you can't afford to buy it, you can very possibly figure out how to do it yourself. So I'm going to come back with a new series that we're going to be, creating, but it's going to be a series where we can create, and it's not going to cost a lot of money. I'm just not going to do it like this where everything was kept set aside and I only used what we bought for the series, because I don't really have a place to keep the series separate anymore. It's just gotten too big and I can't get to it. So I'm going to use my regular stash, but I am also going to make sure that whatever it is, that really anybody can do it if they want to. It's not going to cost them an arm and a leg. So for the new series, so it's probably going to be anybody can craft on a budget or something like that. But I do appreciate all of your support through this whole series. And with the new series, if there's anything that you want, if you say, well, I want background stamps, or I want stencils, or I want this or that, and I really can't afford to buy it, just go ahead and leave a comment below one of the videos. You can just send me an email, which I'm not sure if my email address is I think my email address is on my homepage. I'll have to check that. But just leave a comment on any of my videos, because new comments always come up in my regular email, and I will go ahead and try and figure out how to make what it is that you're looking for, so that you can do it and you can create just like everybody else, except you can do it at a much more reasonable price. And you're not breaking the budget or spending grocery money on something that you want to enjoy, because if you spent money you shouldn't spend, then it's not enjoyable. And when you make it yourself, it makes it so much more enjoyable, and it really feels fulfilling to do that. So thank you very much, all of you, for watching the series. I really cannot tell you how much I appreciate you. I will be back with the new series soon, and thank you again. I do hope that you all have an outstanding day. Bye-bye.